What happened to me shouldn't happen to anyone, but I'm glad it did. The cold, sterile air of the lawyer's office reeked of tension as the family glared at the teenage girl seated in the corner. Maya, a 17-year-old black girl with a defiant spirit cloaked in her neatly pressed dress, felt their contempt like an icy wind. Victor Almeida's mocking voice pierced the silence, questioning her right to be there and drawing a smirk from the others. People used to treat me like I was nothing, she thought, fueled by the years spent cleaning their homes, invisible to their privileged lives. As the lawyer Enrique Garcia droned on with legal formalities, Maya wrestled with the familiar sting of being belittled. The family exchanged dismissive glances, oblivious to the strength she possessed. But today was a different day. Today she would be heard. The tension escalated when a video from the deceased Eduardo Almeida began to play. Maya watched in disbelief as Eduardo condemned the family's arrogance and praised her hard work, calling her a pillar of resilience. Gasps filled the room, the family's faces twisted with confusion and anger. The walls that had once suppressed her began to crumble. Then came the bombshell. You, Maya, inherit 51% of the company, Enrique announced, chaos erupting immediately. But Maya held her ground, a newfound fire blazing in her chest. No revenge was necessary. She envisioned change. This isn't just about power, it's about justice for those you've marginalized. In that moment, the narrative flipped. Maya was not the maid. She was now the architect of transformation, ready to dismantle the very foundation that had oppressed her. In her hand, she held not only a fortune, but the chance to redefine her legacy, leading her company into a new era of compassion and equity, proving that true strength lies in lifting others. Take. The heavy oak door creaked open, and in the dimly lit lawyer's office, the tension was palpable. Why is she even here? Victor Almeida sneered, his voice dripping with condescension, as his gaze flicked dismissively toward Maya. This is family business. Maya stood at the back, her heart pounding, arms crossed tightly to hide the trembling of her fingers. She was 17, dressed in a simple white blouse that contrasted sharply against the surrounding designer suits. Invisible, she thought, but she refused to show it. I'm here because my mother worked for your family, and I deserve to know what's happening, Maya replied, voice steady and unwavering. The snickers echoed in the room, condescending remarks flinging like darts. What would she know about family? One cousin scoffed, and another whispered, probably just hoping for a handout. The words stung, a reminder of her years spent scrubbing floors so they could wear their luxury. Thang. The lawyer, Enrique, flicked through pages as if fumbling over the familiar names, then pivoted to a projected video. The family leaned forward, unimpressed. Let's get this over with, Rick grumbled, casting a lingering glance at Maya as if she was a mere pest. Then Eduardo Almeida appeared on screen, his words cutting through the suffocating air. Maya is not just my employee. She's part of our story. You treated her like a ghost in your grand mansion. Maya's pulse quickened as defensive murmurs erupted from the family. Enough of this nonsense, Victor shouted, fists clenched. This has nothing to do with her. With fire igniting inside her, Maya straightened. You don't get to decide that, she said, her voice breaking through the chaos. You have no idea what I've done to support my family. As the will was read, her inheritance was unveiled. 51% of the company, properties, a fortune. Silence engulfed the room as shock morphed into outrage. You can't be serious. Like cousin shouted, accompanied by the scrambling of papers desperate to refute the claim. But Maya stood tall, asserting, this isn't yours to keep. I intend to use this for our community, to give back what you've taken. Each word was tempered with the weight of each past humiliation. At that moment, the power dynamics shifted, the air now charged with dread and disbelief. The Almeidas looked upon her not as an outsider, but as an undeniable force. You don't belong here, Victor blurted out, fraught with fear. Maya's indignant smile showed her true resolve. I'm the change you never wanted to face. Maya sat in the cold conference room, the air thick with unspoken animosity. The sharp clack of the lawyer's pen against metal echoed like a ticking clock, counting down the minutes before her life was dissected. She shifted uncomfortably in her seat, feeling the weight of her family's disdain pressing down on her. The scornful remarks surged in waves, each one a reminder of her place. A maid's daughter, invisible, unwanted. Why is she even here? Victor Almeida sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. The laughter that followed withered any flicker of pride within her. Silence engulfed her as the glares intensified. Maya clenched her fists against her thighs, a storm swelling behind her stoic facade. She remembered the years of scrubbing floors and saving scraps of money, the dreams of college weighed down by family obligation. Despite the embarrassment crawling up her spine, she refused to yield to their ridicule. Video flickered to life. The unexpected voice of Eduardo Almeida filled the room, painting a portrait of her labor, her aspirations, juxtaposed against the family's arrogance. The discomfort across their faces was palpable. Maya savored the moment, but it wasn't enough. The flames of frustration ignited in her chest at their mounting outrage. How dare they question the legitimacy of her inheritance? Then, the words escaped her lips with a clarity she hadn't anticipated. "You've misjudged my loyalty and worth." The room fell silent. Maya met their shocked gazes, resolute. Gripped by a newfound strength, she unveiled the truth of her inheritance. A shocking 51% of the company. Their disbelief morphed into chaos, yet in that moment, Maya felt unshackled. She would not seek revenge. Instead, she would thrive. "I'll rebuild this for the people you've oppressed," she declared, a plan forming behind her quiet determination. The air shifted, an electric tension in the room, as their power tilted precariously. The whisper of transformation lingered, potent, awaiting the dawn of justice. Maya took a deep breath, steadying her trembling hands as the lawyer's voice echoed in the tense air. "And now, we move to the final part of the will." Her heart raced, but the unyielding glares from her family couldn't shake her resolve. Victor laughed. "What a joke. You're not getting anything, are you?" "You don't know, do you?" Maya's voice cut through the laughter, steady and clear. It felt foreign, like the sound of a bell ringing for the first time. The room fell silent, eyes darting to her. As the video played, Eduardo's voice filled the room, recounting her sacrifices and dreams. Maya felt the warmth of pride swell within her, pushing against the weight of their disdain. "You mocked her?" Eduardo's words stung like arrows aimed straight at their egos. When the will was revealed, Maya's world shifted. "I inherit everything," she stated, her voice calm yet powerful. Chaos erupted around her. Shouts of anger blended with disbelief, but she stood firm. "This isn't a mistake. My plan is simple. Use this to uplift those you've oppressed." "Are you serious?" Rick scoffed, his face pale. Maya replied softly, but with conviction. "No more privilege at the expense of others. This community deserves more." A flicker of empowerment danced in her chest, igniting a fire she had stifled for too long. The family exchanged wary glances, the atmosphere charged with uncertainty. "You think you can change everything?" Victor challenged, but the edge in his voice wavered. "Submerged." "Yes," Maya declared, the strength in her voice resonating with a new kind of confidence. "It's time for real change." The tension within the dimly lit lawyer's office crackled like static electricity. Family members fidgeted on plush leather chairs, their impatience palpable. Maya, a 17-year-old black girl sitting quietly in the corner, felt the weight of their contempt push against her chest as Victor Almeida scoffed. Why is she even here? The laughter that followed sank into her bones, but Maya held her head high, determined to remain unbroken. As the will reading commenced, layers of privilege and disdain wrapped around the atmosphere like a shroud. Enrique, the lawyer, cleared his throat, but Maya barely heard him over the thumping of her pulse. The moment arrived when Eduardo Almeida's video flickered to life. Despite the cruel remarks from her family, Maya's heart swelled as her late grandfather's voice echoed through the room, illuminating her diligence and sacrifices. With each word, he exposed their ignorance and arrogance, contrasting sharply with her quiet strength. Uncomfortable glances transformed into furious glares when the will was read. Maya Almeida inherits 51% of Almeida Enterprises, all properties and a sizable monetary sum. Enrique's voice boomed. Gasps erupted like fireworks, caught between disbelief and rage. Maya felt something shift within her. No need for revenge. Instead, she envisioned a future dedicated to her community, not her family's greed. Take, by the way, she interjected, her voice steady, refusing to waver. I plan to return these properties to the displaced families. We will launch a foundation that empowers our workers. Shock struck her relatives, their expressions twisting from entitlement to despair. The realization hit. Power had shifted. Months later, the Almeida family found themselves sidelined, struggling as Maya transformed the company's culture, fostering equity where elitism once flourished. Alone, she stood triumphantly in her office, framed photos of thriving community initiatives surrounding her. The journey was not merely against her family, but paved with compassion and purpose. And from her heart, she vowed to continue the fight for justice, stitching together a legacy that would make her ancestors proud. As I sit back and let the memories wash over me, I can hardly recognize the girl I was 6 months ago. The flickering light of the lawyer's office still lingers in my mind, filled with the palpable tension that burdened me, the only one treated as invisible. But now that weight has transformed into purpose. I didn't choose vengeance. I chose to harness my voice and my new power for something greater. Instead of perpetuating a cycle of hurt, I sought justice for everyone affected by this family's bias. Watching the community come together, seeing those once overlooked now thrive, it fills me with a sense of fulfillment I never knew. Yet I still ponder the moments when I was mocked, belittled, when I considered striking back with anger. Do you think I went too far? What would you have done in my shoes? Have you ever faced someone's scorn and found a way to turn it into strength? I invite you to share your stories in the comments. Let's discuss the complexities of power, justice, and resilience together.